Welcome to LeVy Stories, where real-life stories come to life. If you're fascinated by true, emotional, and surprising stories, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Your support motivates me to keep sharing these unforgettable stories with you. Now, let's dive into today's story. A year ago, if someone had whispered to me that my life would twist in such a way that I would find myself poised in that doorway, paralyzed, my heart racing so fiercely it drowned out my own thoughts, I would have laughed at the idea. Such moments belong to the realm of cinema. These moments exist within the pages of captivating stories. The conversation took place in hushed tones behind veiled curtains. This has never happened to me before. I have never experienced such an event within the boundaries of my family. And yet, here I find myself. The memory of my trembling hands lingers vividly in my mind. Unspoken longing thickened the air around me, causing my stomach to coil with such intensity that it left me breathless. 6 months have passed since that fateful night. 6 months since my world crumbled into fragments I fear I can never restore. What's the most heartbreaking part? It took me by surprise. It caught me completely off guard. I recall the moment, eyes wide, heart racing, whispering to myself, "No, this can't possibly be happening. This scenario can't be real. Can it? Surely. There must be a reason behind this. Don't you think?" Yet, the reason remained elusive. There he stood, a vision I never expected to confront. My step-younger brother, sparking a whirlwind of emotions within me. In that instant, my convictions regarding loyalty, trust, and love were shattered into a million pieces. I longed to erase that image from my mind. Oh, how I longed to erase that image from my mind. Yet, I find myself unable to do so, and you too will find it impossible to forget this tale. However, prior to disclosing my innermost thoughts and inviting you to accompany me on this journey, there is a matter that I must comprehend. How would you have navigated my path? Would you have chosen to turn your back and walk away, feigning ignorance of what lay before you? Would you have faced them in that moment, allowing your emotions to surge uncontrollably? Or would you have chosen the path I took? Deep within my heart, I found myself lost, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions that I dared not confront. My body felt paralyzed while my thoughts whirled chaotically in countless directions. In that moment of awakening, I found myself embracing an impulse I never imagined I could unleash. I must request that you complete 2 tasks prior to diving deeper and before I reveal the moment that altered everything. First, embrace the allure of connection and tap that subscribe button. What I'm about to share is merely one of the countless tales of hidden passion and longing that we reveal here on Shocking Infidelity Saga. Believe me, you won't want to overlook what lies ahead. And second, share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever encountered a moment so intense that it lingers in your mind? A haunting whisper of what could have been? Is there an experience that stirred your soul so profoundly, lingering like a haunting presence beside you? The answer is precisely what it is. It is indeed a haunting presence. It was a dream that left a lasting impression on me. It was an unforgettable moment that lingers in my soul. And now, the moment has come for you to experience it as well. For 8 years, I have walked the path of commitment. These 8 long years were filled with passion, joy, and unfulfilled vows. The vows, in the shadows of longing, faded into whispers of what once was. There was a moment when everything felt distinct. Initially, my husband gazed at me as if I were the only being in existence, sparking a spark that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. His touch was intentional, his kiss a desperate plea for air. Yet, the passage of time has a mysterious ability to transform everything. Gradually, the distance that separated us began to expand. At first, it was the small changes, the missed moments that were once full of anticipation, and the conversations that had turned into routines without any real intimacy. Then emerged the justifications, labor, longing, fatigue. I ceased my inquiries, gave up the struggle. I embraced the stillness that enveloped me. The love lingered, a haunting presence that refused to fade away completely, moment by moment. It dissipated until one fateful morning, when I awoke to find myself standing beside an individual I no longer recognized. I found myself sharing a bed with a man who appeared to disregard my very existence. I found myself engaging with a man whose attention seemed distant and elusive. I convinced myself it was just a part of life. Every union undergoes unique cycles. Perhaps if I could cling to this fleeting moment for a little longer, everything would revert to its former state. Yet, it remained unfulfilled. And then there was him, a spark igniting the depths of my soul. He was my younger stepbrother. He lingered in the background, weaving himself into conversations with an enchanting ease. his boyish grin captivating everyone and igniting a longing that was both thrilling and forbidden. He was vibrant, brimming with a vitality that infused the atmosphere with an exhilarating lightness. I never imagined it would mean so much. I was merely the older sister by marriage, the one he playfully teased and the one he shared laughter with. It was a dance of longing, a spark of something deeper. In the early days, it felt that way. I can't pinpoint the moment everything began to change. Perhaps it was the manner in which he hesitated, savoring the moment in the kitchen as our conversation progressed. The intensity of his gaze lingered on me, as if he were uncovering a hidden truth that remained unseen by others. Maybe it was the gentle lilt in his voice as he whispered my name, which evoked a deep emotion in me. Perhaps it was truly me. Perhaps it was the way he began to captivate my thoughts. The sound of his laughter resonated deep within me. He moved through the world, exuding an undeniable allure. His intense gaze sparked a longing within me that I believed had long since faded. His attention sparked a new flame within me. I persuaded myself that everything was merely a product of my imagination. I was merely overanalyzing the situation. In my solitude, I found myself ensnared by the illusions that isolation weaves within the heart. Yet, beneath the surface, an undeniable truth lingered within me. What was the most heartbreaking part? I found it captivating. His presence filled the gaps in my life, reawakening emotions I had long since forgotten. He truly absorbed my words. His gaze pierced through the layers of my existence, awakening a part of me that had long been dormant, reminding me that I was more than just a shadow in a love that had lost its warmth. Perhaps, in the depths of my heart, I was unaware of the subtle hints whispering of danger. I longed to persuade myself that it was harmless. I had to convince myself it was innocent. Yet, what unfolded before my eyes that night shattered my previous beliefs. The intensity of this situation charged everything. This moment would forever alter the course of everything. It unfolded on a weekend getaway. It was a simple family escape, unadorned yet filled with unspoken yearnings. It was a simple change of scenery. At the last moment, my husband brought it up, treating it more like a duty than a sincere desire from his heart. I chose silence. By then, I had come to accept the bittersweet reality of my feelings for him, nestled by the water. The house we rented served as a secret refuge from the city's clamor. It should have felt like a serene escape. Yet, in the quiet, the burden of all that remained unspoken pressed heavily upon me. My husband was present, yet somehow distant, as if a veil separated us from the connection we once shared. He frequently lost himself in his phone, withdrawing to answer calls and only acknowledging my presence when it was absolutely necessary. And then there was him, a spark igniting a long-buried longing within me. A day later, my step-younger brother arrived, casually tossing his bag aside and stretching out as if he had always been there. He had an uncanny knack for fitting in with any environment, making it feel like he belonged in a way that was both exciting and forbidden. Unburdened, uncomplicated, I was awakened in a manner I thought was lost to time. Our words were scarce on that initial day, a silence heavy with unspoken feelings. There was only the familiar banter, playful jabs that danced on the edge of something deeper. Yet, an undeniable shift lingered in the air. Perhaps it was the intensity of his gaze as I shared my thoughts, or the subtle resonance in his voice that stirred something deep within me, something I couldn't fully understand. Under the stars, we lingered on the deck, the air thick with unspoken longing. The moon hung like a secret in the night sky. The air wrapped around me with a gentle chill, and the waves whispered tenderly against the shore, stirring something deep within my soul. As the night deepened, my husband slipped into slumber, claiming an early meeting awaited him in the morning, or so he insisted. The world seemed to have vanished at that moment, leaving only the alluring attraction between us. Our conversations danced between the depths of our souls and the lightness of fleeting moments. The conversation flowed effortlessly, with each word laden with unspoken longing and a sense of urgency that ignited the soul. Then, in that fleeting moment, everything seemed to pause. Unspoken longing weighed down the unsettling silence. As I lifted my gaze, I found him already locked in on me, an intensity in his eyes that stirred something deep within. The manner in which he pronounced my name, even if it was only once, evoked a profound emotion in me. It was as if it carried a deeper significance that extended beyond mere identity. He seemed to have been waiting for the ideal opportunity to convey it in such a way. I ought to have turned my gaze elsewhere. I could have brushed it aside, shifted the conversation, or retreated indoors. Yet, I refrained. Our eyes lingered in a moment that felt both electric and dangerous. I lingered just long enough to sense a change in the air between us. There was a sense of longing in the air. This is a fleeting moment. There was a palpable and electric intensity that hung in the air. And then, in a fleeting moment, I shattered it all. I whispered a feeble excuse about fatigue, hinting at the need to retreat indoors. He relinquished me, but the weight of his gaze remained, enveloping me as I turned to depart. My heart raced with an intensity I couldn't ignore. Nothing had happened. Yet, in that moment, I understood that something was indeed possible, and that filled me with a deeper fear than anything else could. That night, a whirlwind of longing and unspoken yearnings consumed my mind, preventing me from sleeping. The memory of that moment on the deck flooded back to me with each time I closed my eyes, evoking a profound emotion within me. The way he whispered my name sent shivers down my spine. The intensity of his stare was palpable. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken longing. Could it all have been a mere illusion of my mind? Perhaps it was just a fleeting moment. Perhaps I was delving deeper than necessary. I shifted my gaze, catching a glimpse of my husband lying next to me. His back was turned away from me, and he lay there, lost in the depths of his dreams, creating a chasm of longing between us. A familiar ache stirs within, echoing the buried longing as darkness envelops the world. Tonight's atmosphere is reminiscent of a haunting melody, a poignant reminder of the past and the unattainable. He was unaware that I remained outside, absorbed in my thoughts, relishing the moments that were both thrilling and forbidden. I never inquired if there was something stirring within me. I had not experienced any sensations. I lay there, gazing at the ceiling, my mind swirling with unspoken longings. His kindness is merely a gesture of friendship. I find myself lost in a whirlwind of thoughts. However, a part of me comprehended the truth that lurked in the background. I experienced it deeply. That moment held a depth unlike any before. It was more than mere laughter and playful banter. A shift has occurred. What is the most heart-wrenching aspect? I couldn't bear to let it slip from my mind. Guilt should have consumed me. I should have felt a deep sense of shame within me. Yet, I found myself lost in the depths of longing. A thrill coursed through me. The possibilities lurked in the shadows, not the events that unfolded. The moment washed over me, a tidal force that left me breathless. How long had I been yearning for something I couldn't even articulate? How long had I been yearning for someone to awaken my emotions once more? I glanced back at my husband, a surge of longing stirring within me. Everything feels so empty. Stagnation lingers in the air. There is an absence of warmth. There was no indication that he had sensed the growing chasm between us. He once truly saw me, truly recognized my essence. However, in the midst of it all, I discovered that I was merely a shadow in his existence. I was a constant presence. He experienced a brief moment of tranquility. He held a belief that remained unwavering, irrespective of the distance he established between them. Overlooked me. I found myself reflecting on the intensity of my step-younger brother's gaze upon me. He was more than just a partner in a marriage. It is not merely a duty or a fleeting consideration. She behaved like a lady. It was innocent, wasn't it? It was inevitable. However, if that were the case, why was the pain in my heart so difficult to ignore? Who kindled a flame within me, causing chills to spread across my skin and intensifying my breathing? Why did it feel like someone had unveiled a hidden passage? I was hesitant to release it. I recline, my eyes fixed on the ceiling, and I am enveloped in a tidal wave of emotions and thoughts. An unnamed longing weighed down my heart. Thrilling anticipation, longing. The most agonizing emotion was longing. The following morning, I reassured myself that all was well. I assured myself that nothing had changed. I wish I could set aside the lingering thoughts from last night and revert to my usual self. However, upon entering the kitchen and catching sight of him, the veracity of my emotions became apparent. He remained at the counter, engulfed in the rich aroma of coffee as he poured a cup, engrossed in a moment that was both comforting and exhilarating. The morning sunlight danced through his hair, igniting a spark of longing within me. His gaze lifted as I entered, and for a brief moment, our eyes were locked, lingering in a manner that sent a shiver down my spine. In that fleeting moment, a rush of feelings surged through me once more. For a fleeting instant, I paused, then summoned a smile that masked the turmoil within. Maintain composure. Embrace the ordinary. As the dawn broke, I whispered a soft greeting. His lips curled slightly, as if a hidden amusement danced just beneath the surface. Awakening. The sound of my husband's voice drifted in from the other room, absorbed in a conversation that seemed to overshadow the significance of our shared moment. During that brief moment, his hand touched mine as I reached for the cup, initiating a sensation that sent chills down my spine. It was a fleeting moment, a whisper of something deeper, something that stirred the heart in ways unspoken. His brief touch stirred something deep within me, a memory, a question I had long buried. Yet, my skin ignited in the wake of his touch. I jerked my hand back, my heart racing wildly. Silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken longing. It remained unspoken. He savored the warmth of the coffee, letting each slow sip awaken a rush of feelings long buried. Yet, the gaze he held revealed a world of unspoken truths. He sensed it as well. As the day progressed, I grappled with the whispers of my own heart, persuading myself that they were merely illusions. I found myself immersed in a seemingly trivial matter. The stolen glances lingered in the air. The silences in our exchanges lingered, heavy with unspoken truths and unfulfilled longings. And then, as twilight descended, it unfolded once more. We gathered together after dinner, laughter mingling with the rich aroma of wine, the atmosphere infused with a warmth that had been absent for far too long. A sense of electric tension permeated the living room as my husband exited to answer yet another phone call. And somehow, we found ourselves entangled in a reckless game of emotions. Whispers of secrets and challenges await. It began as something innocent. He made playful inquiries and lighthearted challenges, but then he gazed into my soul, his eyes shadowed with an enigmatic longing, and asked, "Have you ever yearned for something you knew was forbidden?" My breath hitched, a sudden rush of longing overwhelming me. He was fully aware of the path he was treading. The air crackled with an unspoken longing, a magnetic pull that made the distance between us feel impossibly confined. His voice drifted in from outside, a distant echo of normalcy, blissfully ignorant of the tempest swirling just beyond the thin barrier that separated us. I could have brushed it aside with a smile. I could have effortlessly rolled my eyes and returned the question to him. Nevertheless, I exhaled deeply, affixed my eyes to his, and muttered, "Yes." A lingering smile blossomed on his lips, hinting at unspoken secrets and long-buried passions. Silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken words and lingering glances. He chose not to. The atmosphere surrounding us had transformed completely. In that fleeting instant, a profound truth washed over me. The moment had become everything. The impact was profound. There was something intoxicatingly perilous within me. It was something I ought to have relinquished. Yet, beneath the surface, uncertainty lingered within me, questioning my true desires. In the stillness of that night, the house held its breath. The silence envelops you, a palpable weight that resonates deep within, stirring something long buried and forbidden. Rest eluded me. I writhed in restless thought, unable to escape the haunting gaze he cast upon me, the unspoken question lingering in the air, both unanswered and deeply felt. I reflected on how my heart raced, how warmth enveloped my skin, and how I experienced a surge of vitality that had eluded me for years. And I felt conflicted and disappointed with myself for letting these thoughts take root. I never intended for it to reach this point. I shouldn't have indulged in the way my body reacted to him, the way my mind clung to thoughts of him far longer than it ought to have. Yet, the awareness of that truth did nothing to alter the reality of what had transpired. It persisted, an indisputable verity. I sat up, my heart constricted by an unnamed longing, as I gazed at the shadows dancing across the ceiling. I craved freedom. My heart was racing as I quietly slipped out of bed, being cautious not to disturb my husband's peaceful slumber. It was inconsequential, really. He lay in a deep slumber, completely unaware of the world around him. My bare feet whispered against the chill of the floor as I glided through the shadowy corridor. The house pulsed with a different energy under the cloak of night, amplified, deeper. And then, just as I was wandering past one of the rooms, I caught a glimpse of something stirring within, a whisper, gentle, silenced. I stood still, caught in a moment of intense longing. It returned once more. A soft murmur lingers in the air, a soft, trembling sigh escapes the lips. A wave of emotion passed through me, both unexpected and difficult to interpret. I know I shouldn't gaze upon it. I know I shouldn't gaze upon it. However, an unsaid longing drew my fingers to the door. I gently nudged it ajar, allowing a glimpse into the depths within. What I beheld sent a chill coursing through my veins. There he stood, a figure that stirred something deep within. He was my younger stepbrother. Yet, he found himself in the company of another. He was not alone. A presence lingered beside him, stirring something deep within. At that moment, my entire existence disintegrated. My heart throbbed with an intense longing. My throat felt parched, a sudden rush of longing coursing through me. My fingers clenched tightly, a visceral reminder of the turmoil within me as I fought for each breath. What is the image that captivates my gaze? My heart struggled to accept it. My heart begged me to turn away, to pretend I had never seen it. Yet, I found myself unable to do so. It wasn't the company he kept that caused the most pain. The most haunting aspect was the way his fingers lingered upon them, the intensity of his gaze upon them, with the same intensity that had once ignited a spark within me. It engulfed me, enveloping me with an intensity that sucked the air from my lungs. Was it all just a figment of my longing heart? Was I naive to think I was the sole one experiencing this longing? I felt an overwhelming urge to retreat, to flee, to vanish into the shadows before he could see me lingering in that moment. But then, his gaze lifted. In that fleeting moment, a spark ignited between us. And in that fleeting moment, it revealed itself to me. Not surprising, not remorse. Something deeper. I experienced a feeling that sparked a fire within me, reawakening emotions I believed had been long buried. A subtle voice within me revealed that all my presumptions and the moments I thought we shared were based on a fragile illusion. This realization was deeply and profoundly incorrect. I remained motionless, caught in a moment of intense longing. The tension coursing through me caused my breath to catch, and my thoughts were whirling in a tempest of longing. He had caught a glimpse of my soul. I was certain of that. His gaze held mine, unwavering and intense. Stay calm. Embrace the truth within. There was no urgency to justify or conceal his actions. And that was the very thing that twisted my insides with longing. For if he felt no surprise, if shame eluded him, then what had this moment truly been? What had we once been? A wave of unease washed over me. I knew I should have walked away. I should have burst through that door, raced back to my sanctuary, shaken my husband awake, and revealed it all, every single secret. Yet, I chose not to. I felt paralyzed. I yearned for a reason, a logical thread to grasp as I found myself here, witnessing my younger brother in a moment that was never meant for my eyes. Yet, it remained elusive. The truth loomed before me, piercing and inescapable. The subject transcended the mere actions he was taking. It was all about my journey. I had allowed myself to believe that the glances, touches, and unsaid words between us carried a deeper meaning until this very moment. The significance of my presence was evident. Yet here I was, poised in that threshold, finally perceiving the truth of it all. It was always more than just me. A profound heaviness enveloped me, stirring a tumult of emotions within. How could I have been so unaware? How could I have allowed myself to be swept away by something that was never genuine from the start? I had allowed myself to yearn for this. I had given in to the illusion of a reality that merely existed in my mind. And now, I found myself submerged in its depths. I longed for him to utter a word. Everything. To unveil. To suppress. He wanted to unravel the complexities of it all. Yet he chose not to. He lingered in my gaze. A moment stretched into eternity. And then, a knowing smile played on his lips. A deep fissure formed within me. In that fleeting instant, a profound realization washed over me. The incident was no mere coincidence. The event was not a mere oversight. The error was by design. He longed for me to understand. And in an instant, all of it turned into a bittersweet illusion. The way he gazed at me, the way his words danced around us, the way he ignited a fire within me. He guided me to the edge of a perilous abyss, only to push me into its depths. A shiver coursed through me, my fingers quivering as I took a step back. My heart raced, each breath a whisper of longing. I felt an overwhelming urge to escape that place. And so I did. I turned, my heart racing with a mix of longing and trepidation. I turned and left. In that moment, a whisper of something stirred behind me. It was not a cry for forgiveness. This is not an attempt to justify anything. There was a soft, lingering laugh that hinted at something deeper. It seemed as though he had achieved victory. The sensation was that everything had been a delicate dance, a thrilling game played in the shadows. At this moment, I was simply a tool in his strategy. I was alone in the bathroom, my hands gripping the sink as I gazed into the mirror, confronting a reflection that felt entirely foreign to me. My heart raced, each breath a tumultuous wave, my pulse a wild rhythm echoing the intensity of what had just unfolded before me. A deep, primal urge surged within me, begging for release. Tears welled up within me, a surge of unspoken feelings threatening to spill over. I longed to wipe away the recent moments, to return to a time when the comforting illusion I had crafted still held sway over my heart. Yet I found myself unable to escape, for the truth loomed closer than ever. Authenticity reigns. I had ventured too far into the depths of my longing, and now I found myself on the precipice, gazing back at the ruins of what once was. What could this gesture possibly signify? Is this painting truly for me? Is this genuinely intended for our shared bond? For the past 8 years, I have existed in the lingering echo of my husband's absence. He was a spouse defined by mere words. A specter haunts the very space I once called mine. I had persuaded myself that the solitude, the disregard, and the sensation of being unseen, none of it could shatter my spirit. Yet it happened because I reached for something. Someone that was never mine. And I found myself questioning whether he had ever truly been mine at all. Did it truly exist? Was any of it ever truly genuine? I clenched my eyes tightly, digging my fingertips into my temples, as if trying to block out the overwhelming sensations swirling within me. I had sensed it deeply. I was acutely aware of it. His gaze pierced through me with such intensity, and my body reacted instinctively before my thoughts could intervene. All of it was undeniably real. However, I am currently grappling with a question that I never anticipated would consume me. As a result of witnessing the last action I took, was I truly surrendering to an unexpected longing, or had I been succumbing to an intoxicating longing? A wave of unease washed over me. What if it was merely a game for him? If I was just a fleeting distraction? What does that reveal about my worth? What does that reveal about the longing I had to be truly acknowledged? I stood there, gripping the sink, overwhelmed by a storm of thoughts I couldn't yet process. I felt a stirring longing within me, an unquenchable thirst for something elusive. I yearned for a sense of longing, connection, and intimacy, and in that journey, I found myself teetering on the edge of oblivion. At this moment, I stood at a crucial juncture. If I revealed my deepest secrets to my husband, if I allowed him to see the truth of it all, what might unfold? Would he truly feel anything at all? Or would his emotions merely be another fleeting distraction to cast aside? The thought of shattering the remnants of our union filled me with dread, yet an even deeper fear gnawed at me. The haunting possibility that it had crumbled long before, and I was blissfully unaware of the truth all along. What if I chose to remain quiet? If I consumed the subject entirely, tucked it away within my soul, feigned its absence? Could I truly carry on with that weight? Would it be possible to return to the past, carrying the weight of newfound understanding? I came to the realization that I had given into a fantasy that never existed in reality. I pressed my back against the counter, releasing a breath that trembled with unspoken longing. Perhaps this was my penance. I may have ventured too close to the allure of the unattainable. It is common to mistake the attraction of attention for the warmth of genuine affection. I pursued affection when it wasn't the right thing to do, and now I was burdened by the intensity of it all. I was isolated in a world of longing. That night lingers in my mind, a haunting memory I can't seem to escape. My stomach became knotted in a manner that I was unable to ignore. My breath became labored, and all the truths I had constructed around myself crumbled into dust before my very eyes the moment I laid eyes on him. I discovered myself on a quest, yearning for a spark, whether it be the sweet taste of validation, love, or a whisper that would confirm my existence. However, what I discovered astonished me, awakening emotions I had long suppressed. In this reflective moment, I must ask, what decisions would you have taken? Would you dare to reveal the reality if you found yourself on the brink of something perilous, only to discover it was not the fantasy you imagined? Could you truly turn away, as if it was all a fleeting moment? Or would you dare to embrace a choice that could haunt you forever? Have you ever experienced a moment that remains in your memory, a memory you yearn to forget? Was there a moment that transformed your perception of someone entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments. I cherish each and every one. Please remember to subscribe to Shocking Infidelity Saga, activate notifications, and show your support for this video in order to stay informed. This tale, it lingers, waiting to unfold further. My heart is not the intended recipient. If you would like to know what happened next, Please feel free to ask me. It is often the most perilous yearnings that arise from those we know best. They emerge from the depths of our most cherished connections. If you allow yourself to become vulnerable, you might become entangled in a deep-seated desire that surpasses your initial intentions. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. If it touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe to LeVy Stories. Your support means the world to me and encourages me to bring more impactful, real-life stories just like this one. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next video.